Didn't quite hit the center with that one. There we go. Well, I definitely got their attention, didn't I? You guys definitely keeping an eye on me. So they were all the way out in the far side of that field, and they saw me hauling around that silage bale, and they came running up here. Moo cow, come on. Oh, now she's picking up the pace. And there goes Maya right behind her. So the last silage bale, they ate probably 90-95% of it in 48 hours. So we're trying this one in the hay ring. We'll see how quick they can eat it. I was afraid they wouldn't be able to get all the way around it, but it looks like they can all reach it. The little bull's having a little trouble. He's putting his leg inside. He's inside the feeder now. See, he's got his legs in there. That's the only thing bad about smaller calves. You know, they can climb inside the feeder. The rest of them can't. All right, look out. Well, FedEx dropped off a replacement inverter for my solar power system. The solar inputs, some of them went bad on it. And the lady that dropped it off, she rolled it across the ground to get it here. I don't know why they don't use a hand truck for these heavy boxes. But at least the box doesn't seem to be damaged. Like most of the boxes were around Christmas time. Man, they were some of them were pretty rough. So I'll be replacing that inverter on my solar channel probably here in the next week or so. Get that replaced. But they were real good about it. I called them up, explained the troubleshooting, and I don't know, 10 minutes they said, okay, we'll send you a new inverter. And it's taken about a week to get here, but they were real good about replacing it. So what I end up doing every day, probably the biggest factor in that decision is the forecast. And tomorrow it's supposed to be rain. So today's a good day to just top off the hay feeders. That way I don't have to mess with it tomorrow. But it is also about 34 degrees. It's just above freezing. So we'll go work in the shop. So I'm gonna go ahead and get these tires out of the paint booth. I think I can go ahead and take off the masking tape as well. And then I'll go ahead and I'll take the paint booth down and we'll store it away. It's been up for, I'd say, over a month now, and it's been this constant whine in here the whole time, so I'm ready for it to get quiet in this room. I'll find somewhere to lean these. Knock me over, this thing's heavy. All right, ready for some peace and quiet. They're not terrible. You're always going to get a little bit of overspray on the outside. That'll wear off. So here's the bag this came in. Of course, there's no way you'll ever fit it back in this bag. So I got a Christmas tree bag to put it in instead. And there we go. Put away. Well, I haven't been able to start a fire in here since I've had that paint booth set up. Of course, it's too close to the paint booth anyway, but I've just been heating with propane. So I normally just use the propane heater to keep a minimum temperature in here through the wintertime. And every time I come out here to work, I start a fire and I get it up to a more comfortable temperature by burning wood, but I haven't been able to do that for like the last month and a half. And I've also been keeping this room warmer than I normally would. For the painting process, I was trying to keep it warmer so hopefully the paint would cure better. And then overall, I think this winter has been colder than normal. And I think these are all factors on causing me to end up burning more propane than I normally would in a season. So this here's the propane tank for the workshop. We'll open this up. We'll look at the gauge here. I would say we're down to 28%. So this is a 500-gallon propane tank. They'll fill it up to 80%. So that's 400 gallons that they'll put in this. And I think at the beginning of this season, I think we were down to 63%. That means I used 17% last year, which is 85 gallons. And I think I got this working in January. The heater's working in January. So roughly that was half a winter. So if that was a normal winter, I would use about 170 gallons in a winter. But this year we're already down to 28%. So that means I've already used 175 gallons. And I've still got a few more months to go. So definitely using more propane, and I'm hoping that that last 28% will at least last to the end of the season, because I believe that propane is usually more expensive in the wintertime, and it's better to buy it in the summertime. So hopefully I can let this last and I can buy my propane in August like I normally do. I didn't end up buying any this last year because I mean our tanks weren't empty enough. So I usually buy it like every other year. While we're at it, we'll go ahead and check the tank for the house. This may be bad. I think it's an old nest, no eggs. That one's probably a little harder to see, but it's like 45%. So typically, by the time August comes around, when I get them filled up, this will probably be down to about 30% over the course of 2 years. So I can almost go, it would be really close, but I could almost go 3 years on the house before having to fill it up. But it looks like right now that the shop, it's going to be pretty pushing it to even go 2 years. So as I look closer at this rim, you can see I've got a messed up spot. I don't know how well you'll be able to see it. I get the right angle here, you'll see it. See right there, that is where it was leaning on the sawhorse, and it was leaning on this piece of cardboard, was sitting right there. And the paint was still, even after 24 hours, it was still, I guess, wet enough to mess it up. So I need to go ahead and see if I can at least touch up this little spot. It's probably happened on both of these rims. I might get a little criticism on this, but oh, who am I kidding? I get criticism on everything. I'm just going to use a brush very gently. Well, the mark on this rim is definitely worse than the other one. Big thing is we just don't want any place exposed or it'll rust. So yesterday I spent the rest of the day just trying to get all my paint supplies put away, just trying to get everything picked up and cleaned up in here. And now I've got plenty of space in here to work. So I'm going to try to get the tires back on the Allis Chalmers, and I want to try to get it off of the jack stands that are underneath here that's holding it up. And then after that, I want to try to roll it into the garage part. But the problem is, the loader is not attached. It's sitting down here on the ground, but it's also going over the front axle. So I'm going to have to somehow lift up the front end loader and then roll the tractor out from underneath it. And that's probably going to be a little tricky. See if I can get at least one bolt in this. So I'm just going to drive these in by hand. I'm doing that just to try not to damage the paint as much. I'm sure an impact driver would chip the paint worse than this. So the rims on the Allis Chalmers are what they call a spin-out rim. I really am not a big fan of these. But the way it works is it has these 4 tracks on the inside of the rim, and they're angled from left to right. And this is how it attaches to the tractor on these tracks. So you have to have these brackets here, and this bolts to that center hub that we just mounted. And then on the very end, there's a slot that's angled to fit on this track. So this would bolt to the center hub, and then this would fit over the track. And depending on whether it was on the left side or on the right side, that changes the width of the tractor tires. That's kind of the idea behind it. But the problem is it doesn't have much holding power. So if you put a lot of torque on the tractor, you end up having tires shift inward or outward when you don't want them to. And this mounting method is pretty tricky as well, because it really has to be inside of the track to bolt it to the tractor. So I think the way I'm gonna do it is I'm gonna put on probably the top one, maybe the top 2, bolt them in place, and then I'm gonna set the tire down onto the track. And then once the tire is sitting on there, I can go in, I think we can put these bottom ones in place and then bolt them up. It's gonna be a little bit of an ordeal, I think, to get these back on. Well, unfortunately, I could not find the bolts for these. And I found them like under one of the fenders over here, not cleaned up. So I had to run them through the bead blaster, you know, through the sand blaster. And they're not painted. So I guess I'm just gonna have to paint them on the tractor so I can keep moving forward. So for this spin out rim hardware, there's also this like cam shaft. The very middle of it is like is offset, like a cam. And we gotta put that in there. And then this right here is like the clamp that rides on that cam. So you put it in, and then as you turn this, hopefully you can see, it raises that up to clamp the rim in place. So this is the clamping mechanism. So on the back side of this, there is a groove for retaining ring. I should have put this together before mounting it on the tractor, so this rim's kind of in the way. We're going to give it a shot here. There's no way I could do this with the tractor tire on, probably. Oh, there we go. It's on there. Oops. All right, I got it in position. I'm going to try to lower the track down inside of here. Oh, a little faster than I wanted. But it's down. All right, so now I'll take the next attachment point, put the little cam lock in there. See if I can get it on the track. And then I can slide it up the track till it's in the bolt up position. Just gonna stick a bolt in here to hold it in place. And see if I can get a bolt in through the back side. All right, I got 2 more to put on the exact same way. All right, I'll go ahead and lower the hoist the rest of the way. All right, so I didn't lock the cams to the spin out rim yet, but it's on there. So on this spin out rim, you can mount these. These are hard stops. They fit like over the track, and then there's holes in the track that you can basically bolt it to and hold it in place, and it'll keep this from spinning out too far in one direction. So you usually put on 2 of these clamps on each rim, and I think I'm going to go ahead and put one right here, and that's going to make this tire go in probably another 4 inches, and I think that'll probably be about the right width that I want. And then doing this will also make it so my tires are the same on both sides when they're up against this stop. So I think I'm going to bolt it to right here. Well, I think I can't go much further on this side, so I'm going to go ahead and start putting the tire on the other side. Stay there. Close. Oh, you're real close. All right, I got both the tires back on the Allis Chalmers. You can see that this one is a lot farther out than this tire here, and we need to spin those rims inward against the stop, and then they'll match. But I tried doing that in this position and it wasn't working. So I think we'll just go ahead, we're gonna lift it up, get it off of the jack stands that are under here, and while it's in the air, we'll see if we can get it to slide on those spin out rims. This may work, it may not. I think I'm gonna try to lift it up from these lift arm connections. This may not work. I'm in the 500-pound, half-ton position on this little crane. I may have to get the tractor. Oh, I'm up. I'm off the jack stands. I'm gonna try spinning this, hopefully it slides. No. Oh, I think it did slide. I think it did a little bit. I hope. Not quite against the stop. Oh, there she is. Now you can really tell that this one is pulled in and that one is way out. All right, hopefully we get it to spin. Man, it's like it's locked. Oh, I mean, it ain't spinning. Yep. I don't think I'm gonna get this one to move until we actually get the tractor running and can use the engine, the torque from it to spin this. So Rebecca came out here and we have both been trying to jack up the loader on the tractor different ways to see if there's any way we could lift it up and roll the tractor out from underneath it. And it doesn't seem like that is a very feasible way to do it. What seems to be the best is to just totally disassemble the loader. So it has pins like here and there, and at this cylinder, at the bucket. So we're gonna try to unpin everything. It should come apart in about 9 pieces, not counting the hoses. And we're just gonna try to disassemble it so that we can get the tractor out of here. All right, go ahead and jack up on that just a little bit. One more. There we go. Hold on. There, first pin's out. See if you can find the biggest, roundest punch you can find. That'll work, at least for most of the way. Oh yeah, that'll work. That's about to go. All right.
Take it.
Yeah, thank you. So this piece right here is actually free. Makes it sound easier than it is, but it's free. All right. Okay. Boy, my hips are too wide. I'm caught. Okay. Okay. All right. All right, can we? All right. All right, we got the left and right loader frames and the lift cylinders off, and we've got the loader arms. We've got it jacked up with this hoist over here. It's clear of the axles. I think we should be able to pull this tractor back out of here now. This jack right here is real close. It's kind of rubbing against the tire, but I still think we'll be able to pull this out. Going. Oh, the wheel moved in. The wheel moved in.
Hey, that's good.
Did you see that it didn't look like the tires were moving?
Yeah.
I got it in neutral. I may have to push in on the clutch.
Is that where you wanted that wheel to be?
Yes, it should be now.
Well,
Let me look. Yeah, it's against the stop, so I can go ahead and tighten the cams up on this wheel, and hopefully it'll stay where we want it. All right, we're gonna go ahead and try to roll this back out again, but it didn't seem like the tires were wanting to roll at all, even though the gear shifter is in neutral. I kind of wonder if I need to push in on the clutch. So I think Rebecca, she's gonna try to sit on here and push on the clutch as I pull it out of here. We'll see if that works.
Not the most graceful.
That's exactly the word I was just thinking, was graceful. Yeah. So can you push down on that all the way? Yeah?
Okay.
Okay.
I'm ready.
We'll give it another shot. Here goes. Still not.
They're not rolling.
I know. So we're not sure why the tractor isn't rolling. Gear shifter's in neutral. We've got the clutch pushed in. And then the power director on the other side between high and low, it's in neutral as well. And I didn't take the net transmission apart, so I'm not really sure what's going on here. So I'm just gonna go ahead and just drag this thing out of here into the other shop. So here's what it is. I'm gonna have to do something about that cardboard. Well, it's dragging this piece of cardboard with it, along with the camera. Actually slides pretty good on the cardboard. There we go.
The tires were gonna roll there for a minute. They look
They're
like they
rolling backwards in each other like they do
Yes.
when it's jacked up and free spinning. Afraid of that. This last pin's gonna be tricky. We'll get this hoist on the bucket. There we go. Aha, we're out. All right, that was the last pin. It's all separated. So today has been a long day. I'm not sure why the wheels weren't turning. The only thing that's in my head is I took off the gear shifter plate here. And it does appear that it shifts right. I mean, sort of. Where it's parked right now, I can shift it in to first. Is it first? First, third, and reverse. It won't go into second and fourth. And of course, that's not unusual. Sometimes the gears just have to roll a little bit to get it to go in. But I'm wondering if somehow I didn't get this installed right, and that's causing some of the gears in the transmission not to be correct, and maybe that's why it's not rolling. So I think I'll come, next time I work on this, I will take that plate off of there, and I'll see if it rolls with the gear shifter assembly off. And I'm hoping that's the problem, because I didn't take apart the differential, I didn't take apart the transmission, the power director. All I did was take the axles off, replace the bearings, put the axles right back in. So I don't know exactly what's going on with this, but it does have me worried. Hopefully it's a simple fix, and at least it's out of that side of the shop now, so that I can get the workshop set up, and it's here on this side where we can continue to try to put this together and see if we can get it running. So we got to get the brakes in there, and we got to get all the fluids in there and the hydraulics hooked back up. And I think, and a seat, we probably need something to sit on. But after that, I think we should be able to at least get it running. So it's been a really long day today. I probably spent at least a couple hours in the sandblaster just trying to sandblast some of this hardware that I didn't have prepped so that I could get the tires mounted on. Probably spent at least another hour fooling around trying to jack up the loader. Didn't film any of that, but we tried jacking it up, putting jack stands under it, trying different things to see if there's any way we could get out from underneath it before we finally decided to just disassemble the entire thing. So it's just been a really long day. I'm worn out, and I think that's it, guys. So I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you next time.